All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. This is me, Darison Chauskas from Markets.com. And yep, today I wanted to share with you a little quick technical piece here on CHF Probably not the most traded pair out there. However, it is currently quite an interesting one because in a way I call it a battle of the safe havens. And as you know, the stock market is kind of in this selling off moment. So currencies like Japanese yen and the Swiss franc are becoming the attractive ones, becoming those where people are into which people are jumping in, which people are buying in order to safeguard their capital. So yes, and in a way, kind of, we're always thinking like which one is the better one. And at the moment, looking at this picture, well, it's a little bit unclear in a way because again, initially we saw that the Swiss franc was showing good strength here. I mean, Japanese yen is also performing quite well. However, against the Swiss franc, still the Swiss franc has the upper hand. Now, looking at this from the technical perspective, we can see that from the very short term perspective, let's say from the end of February, we have been climbing higher while trading above this upside line, short term upside line. But at the same time, we're still trading overall below a downside resistance line taken from the highest point of July of 2024. So, in a way, we are kind of approaching this area, or we can always also say that we have approached already this area. And if we're looking at some higher levels, then, well, a break of this downside line would be needed. So, if we are trying to put some sort of a level here, then you'll see that we are getting a hold up near the 172.90 zone. So this is the barrier that I'm watching, and together with the downside line, currently we're seeing a little bit of a stalling moment. But the 173 as well. This is the kind of the whole area that I'm keeping an eye on. The 172.9 is something on the lower side, but the 100 and let me just pick up on this little hurdle here. The 173.20. So basically, the 173 barrier becomes the quite a critical one and something to be watched. So let's keep an eye on this one. Like I said, it could present itself with some nice opportunities because again, we are seeing the Swiss franc pushing, stronger and pushing further north, despite the central bank cutting rates. So at this point, like I said, at this point, it could become, like I said, it could become quite an interesting one for further upside. However, some confirmation is required. Also, do not be surprised, let's say, if we do get a hold up near that 173 territory, we may drift back down. But as long as we stay in between these two trend lines, I'm not really touching it. For me to get comfortable with downside, a drop below this upside line is required. So once we get that clearance here, amazing, more potentially more sellers here could join in. But at the moment, look, it's a difficult one for the Japanese yen to really strengthen. We would need probably some sort of action from the BOJ, because the BOJ has kind of paused the idea of hiking rates further because again of the current ongoing trade wars. And in a way, we understand that the central bank will have to jump in probably with some. Well, actually, maybe not with some cuts, but at least to move away from the idea of hiking rates. And this actually could bring the negativity into the Japanese yen. The only thing is that it depends against which currency. In this case, against the Swiss franc, yep, we could see some further negativity. But against, let's say, the US dollar, well, at the moment, the US dollar is suffering because of the same trade war. And this is where, like I said, this is where the Japanese yen, this is could strengthen could see we could still see strength in Japanese yen against the US dollar, but it wouldn't mean that actually the Japanese yen is, let's say, overall stronger. No, it's just because it's weaker against the US dollar, and that's it. So look, for now, like I said, I'm keeping a close eye on this one. I believe this could be quite an interesting one. If you've missed the rally here to the upside, then just kind of, I would say, wait for it. Let's see what's going to happen with the 173 territory. If we somehow clear it together with that downside line, then yes, I'll go higher. My next target somewhere will be somewhere around here, maybe the 175.82, or even let's say somewhere around here near the 177.30. But again, that's the upside scenario. I'm not excluding the downside scenario, of course, but my downside scenario will only be from this upside line, basically on a break of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time. So basically, I just wanted to share with you this little piece on on the Swiss franc against the Japanese yen, or as I call it, the battle of the safe havens. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.